is still shut down. Not only is it impacting so many different social programs, public servants pay, people that actually contribute to society, but more so it's impacting what's happening with crypto. I mean, of course, you guys, I understand that it's more than just crypto, but this is a crypto channel, so we have to talk about it. And unfortunately, there's only a 7% chance that the shutdown will end before the 31st, which is next Friday. So 2 different notable crypto spot ETFs had a deadline of yesterday, October 24th, for the SEC to approve. Unfortunately, because we are shut down, XRP and Cardano were not. They were not approved. And a lot of us thought that we were going to see some sort of altcoin season or bull market or just something happen with alts Q4 2025, primarily because, you know, we have all this regulatory stuff in place. We've got the Genius Act. We have the clarity that's still being kind of pushed out. And we're just kind of trying to get stuff established for crypto because, again, there's not a lot of liquidity coming in. The only way we're going to see some type of altcoin season is with liquidity. You have to have money. You have to have something flowing into the markets to essentially push price up. Retail's tired. US is in a recession. We don't have money to really continue to keep going, especially when we're talking about moving market caps that are billions and billions of dollars. So we need a little bit of institutional money. If you've been watching the show and you've been paying attention to what we talk about, we cover a lot of the ETF inflows, the outflows, the popularity, the Tectrum, Tucrium, XRP ETF, not that one, the Rex Osprey, that was doing absolutely amazing, like absolutely crazy numbers. And the Bitcoin spot ETFs, the Ethereum spot ETFs. I mean, we have Solana staking ETFs now. So that's good kind of because institutions are able to come in, they're able to invest, we're able to kind of capitalize on that liquidity because we're able to actually trade on our own without having to use these brokerages or whatnot, which is kind of unique about crypto and really, really cool. But at the end of the day is we don't really have these getting approved because the government is shut down. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the little stats over here. And I know it's really frustrating for you guys. I'm frustrated too, because it's like this market doesn't feel like a bull market. It feels like a crap. Well, we are in a crap market. It just feels like we're going sideways and going sideways and going sideways. And it's like never ending. I mean, if you really look at Bitcoin, I want to say it was last March or May, that we've been really kind of trading between like $102,000 to like $120,000, just really in that long range. And I know it's a really big area to call it a range and whatnot, but if you zoom out and you look at price, that's exactly what's happening. Also, when we're talking about altcoins, just really minimal price action. Like I wanted to enter a trade this morning and I didn't even feel like doing it just because we're seeing such minimal gains in top altcoins. Like it just sucks, like 2, 3, 5%. And that's not fun. Nobody wants to trade that stuff, but is what it is. So I'm just kind of sitting on my hands. But Cardano and the XRP ETFs are in limbo as the SEC deadline meets U.S. government shutdown. So the Grayscale Cardano ETF and XRP ETF, the deadlines were missed, which was October 24th, yesterday. The shutdown is still ongoing since October 1st and has limited SEC operations, delaying ETF approvals. And we really don't know if there's going to be a resolution or not. We're still waiting because both sides are just being absolutely ridiculous. Also, make sure to smash a like. That helps me and push that out. I'll give a shout out to everybody watching in a moment. I want to get through this because my train of thought. But there's not really a resolution, and it's not really like Hester Pierce, kid, or anybody over at the SC, Paul Atkins. Not like they can just approve these things because they're operating in limited capacity and they have certain things that they have to take care of. I think Tau has somebody applied for a Tau ETF as well. I don't know what, I don't know who that is off the top of my head. But anyways, experts do expect a surge in ETF approvals once the government reopens, which is good. It's bullish. With fall typically being busy season for ETF launches. There is a poll that suggests only a 7% chance the shutdown ends by October 31st. However, there are some people that think that it will be over this week. I personally don't think so. And I'm happy to be wrong here, but I personally don't think so. I'm just not seeing I'm not really seeing a lot of positivity happen with our public servants. So it's like, what are we going to do? Everybody's just fighting and arguing and whatnot. And I know crypto is like the least amount of worries for a lot of people, especially a lot of Americans, just because there's so many other programs that are impacted. But at the same time, for people like us we've been waiting, it's like, what's going on? When is this going to happen? So with that being said, Enthusiasm for a Cardano ETF remains high, with a 77% probability of approval by 2025, boosted by recent SEC rule changes streamlining crypto ETF approvals. SEC new rules reducing approval times to 75 days have led analysts to predict over 100 crypto ETFs can launch in the next 6 to 12 months. Yeah, that's great, fine, fantastic. And that's part of the generic listings that they put out. And again, they have to have an active futures market. They have to be trading for about 6 months. So we're not really seeing any of that happen. We're not seeing a whole lot of movement. And that's probably another reason why we have not seen a rebound from the great crypto liquidation of $20 billion after alts got absolutely decimated a couple weeks ago, is because we don't really have any new liquidity coming into the market. And a lot of us anticipated this was going to happen with the crypto spot ETFs. So I was one of those people like, we're going to get bullish Q4 2025. Like that was a heavy prediction on this channel. But unfortunately, because of the government shutdown, things are getting delayed, and that happens. Is it considered a black swan event? Kind of, sort of. Like, we knew there was problems with the public servants, but we just didn't know how long it was going to last. And this might be one of the longest government shutdowns in history. So we're waiting for that. But some positive notes over here is there's a lot of interest in the Cardano ETFs, and there's a lot of interest in the XRP ETFs. I would even argue that there's a lot more interest in the XRP ETFs just because the community is so massive. And that's not a dig at Cardano at all. I hold Cardano. But as far as institutions and popularity goes, it's Bitcoin and it's XRP. And then Cardano is also up there too, you know. But moral of the story is we're just kind of in limbo. Everybody doesn't know what's going on. And we're just kind of like, what, you know, when is this going to happen? But we do have some good news I will, you know, kind of end the show with. And that's with crypto.com. So they're seeking OCC federal charter, and they're going to be joining Coinbase, Ripple, Paxos, Circle. Interesting thing, though, is that Coinbase, Ripple, Paxos, and I believe it was Circle. Correct me if I'm wrong on Circle. They all donated to help expand the White House ballroom. And contrary to popular belief, that expansion is 100% funded by donations, by private donations. Ripple was one of them, which is super, super, super cool. But so it's not taxpayer dollars that's happening any way, shape, or form, regardless of what the public servants say. So please, please keep that in mind. I'm actually getting my tattoos removed. I'll tell that story in a little bit. But really quickly, big shout out to Sparkwater. Thank you so much for showing up. And good morning to Mr. R. Thank you so much. And if you guys want special shout outs, you do have to become channel members. You have to become part of the O Army, just because that's how we do things on the show. But the cool thing about this story, the silver lining here, is that Crypto.com was not one that donated to the White House. And interesting thing, though, is that when they applied for the OCC federal charter, this is so that they can have offer better custody and staking services to multiple blockchains, including its own layer 1, Chronos, a leading custody provider for digital asset treasuries, ETFs, and institutional clients. And it does indicate the industry's efforts to secure federal banking licenses amid increasing regulatory engagement, which is good. So basically, we are going to see in like the next year or so, and this is why this might be like a super cycle, but a boring super cycle. But we're going to see all of these big companies kind of step up, and they're going to get these special licenses and expand their services, which is, you know, kind of a good thing. When will we see XRP adoption after G5 Treasury? I don't know. We have to wait on regulation for this. Like so this is the thing with crypto. Before we got intertwined and like vertically absorbed into traditional finance, things would just happen and number would go up. But now we're in this kind of current state where we're really waiting on regulators. We're waiting on traditional finance and ETFs and capital flowing in that way because we're getting absorbed that way. And again, with Ripple, they're talking about they're talking to kind of about becoming their own entity and bank, which is kind of what they set out to do. So either way, that's good. The good thing that crypto.com did that, and they're still able to kind of get these results and whatnot done. But really, at the end of the day, we're just kind of waiting for these ETFs to take off. So I don't know. But anyways, I'm posting a video for you guys at 2 p.m. PT. It's a short. It's going to be a report that Coinbase put out about the current state of the market, what they're looking at long term. I highly recommend you watch that video. It'll give you a little bit of insight to what the institutions and everything else is going on. But anyways, you guys, shout out to the Cardano community, shout out to the XRP Army, and I'll catch you guys 2 p.m. PT and then live tomorrow at 10 a.m. PT. Bye-bye.